that's gonna, and like people have already started using AI to, have these sort of downloads, or like, you know, these sort of revelations about conspiracies and other things, because it's literally like an intelligent, all-knowing thing, all-knowing in its database, right? So the truth, you can actually like, it's going to be easier to find the truth instead of going to Google and then you got to go to this article that was written by somebody with a certain bias maybe. But that's one thing that I like about AI. It's like, it's less bias. That sort of combination of being able to ask it anything and actually get an answer is something that is going to really open people up to the truth.
Now, there's people out there that can read books in seconds, and they've read like thousands of books, and they know everything. Like the people you see on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, or The Chase, or all these TV shows where it's all about questions and answers. We're literally going to become that. Well, how cool would it be if we all started to know everything based on chat, that there was nothing more to know, and we don't use chat? And basically we become an enlightened monk, which is the, as you say, the lost tribes. They have all this information just by sitting with themselves. They are connected to everything. They spend so much time by themselves.
Exactly.
They can access it all now, the same as ChatGPT. So we'll do a full circle and get back to all the information that they already have.
Been in New York for the last 4 weeks, and I just got back to North Carolina. So just like that New York hustle and bustle, just like coming down from that and like recentering my energy and really raising the frequency, right? So, that's like with my app, one thing that, the overarching mission is raising the frequency of the planet. So we announced World Frequency Day. So I've really been thinking about that and how we're gonna really have a monumental awakening on that day. We want to reach 1 million people that day to raise their frequency all at once.
Just quickly, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who still listens to the podcast. I started 4 years ago, and since then I've had over 1 million downloads. I get 5,000 downloads per month, and I've had over 200 different guests. So a massive thank you to everyone who still listens. If you could please do me a favour, if you could rate and review the podcast, that will be amazing, because it helps get the podcast out to new, conscious people like yourself. And my goal is to awaken as many people around the world. You can also follow me on Instagram. It's Yes King Oliver, should you wish to see what I get up to on my day-to-day moments. Back to the episode.
So my whole life I used to be an obsessive thinker, and what I always used to do was ponder on why are we here, what is life, why are we at school, what happens when you die, is there ghosts, can you see the past, is there aliens, is there spaceships? And as a kid that was very intrinsic, however you say the word, I was intrigued by everything. I spent a lot of time by myself, and as a result I spent more time in my head than outside with people and with friends and with peers. As a result, I didn't have the social skills to interact with people, and so I had to learn that later on in life, like what it was to have a friend and how you speak with friends. As someone who was, you could say, considered autistic growing up a little bit, I didn't know how to speak to people and empathize with people. So when I did used to speak to people, they used to see that I was different and I was weird because I wasn't responding and reacting to them in the way that they're used to most people doing. Getting older, I realized that that was never my fault, and that when you understand how life works, it's actually a blessing. So all the sacrifices that come with being different growing up end up being a blessing down the line if you make it. And that is what makes up life. It's that whole journey and evolution of growing as a human.
Wow, that's powerful.
When did you have your awakening?
I had my awakening 2017.
How did it begin?
It really began with like being grounded, which is kind of ironic that that's the word for it, right? It was like the start of summer and my parents grounded me, right? And that meant, no phone, no going out. But my mom gave me this book by Tony Robbins. So I was like, started reading it, and like it just started hitting for me. Like the things he was saying, it just like I just felt like this was the real truth about something. I just finished high school, and you go through all that programming and all that information, and then you read something like this and you're like, why wasn't this in any of the things that they taught me in school? And I started doing my research on Tony, figuring out like who he was about, who he mentored. And one thing that kept coming up in these videos was meditation. So started meditating, trying it out myself, and that's when like things really started aligning and clicking for me, like tapping into energy, with the breath and the mind, really, right? So combining those two, working with the mind and body and spirit. So that was like my first, like that's what really like originated like my awakening, I would say.
See, it's interesting because it's only when I was doing nothing and I was still, that's when my awakening happened. So when you say you were grounded, what does that mean? It means that any outside distractions were taken away and you were left with just you, the voice in your head, God, whoever, you and the universe. And the reason why these days so many people are struggling to find themselves and therefore have the awakening is because they're distracted by phones, by TV, by Netflix, by stuff that is always going on, that they never have time to truly just let that inner voice come up, and are there faced with it one-on-one, where they have to do something about it. And it's ironic that you say you are grounded, and that's how you learn to become grounded. But that is literally the magic between healing and awakening. It only starts when you are still. Meditation is what healed my Tourette's. It only happened when I was still, when I was just laying on my bed and letting all the shit and the trauma that I blocked come up long enough that I had to deal with it. And as I dealt with it, it was like a pipe just flowing out with all blockages, one by one. All the bullshit, all the blockages came up. And then you reach enlightenment, which is suddenly for the first time, you are free, you understand how life works, you are conscious, you are awake, you're alive, you're at peace. You see everything, you hear everything. Like you become God. God is energy, God is the universe. And that is when truly life begins. Before it's just the starter, it's the warm up for the main event, which is life is going to be a struggle, and you have to learn to deal with everything. Otherwise, you will crumble and be the old version of yourself, which was when shit comes up, it's too painful to deal with. Block, run, and avoid it, and don't grieve it. And instead, with these life lessons, you move forward. And then when shit comes up in the future, you know to face these things head on.
Yep. Yeah. So did you like have some questions for me? And I would love to know like how you found, my page and all that.
Just scrolling across Instagram pages, you come across like people that have different quotes and energy and different content. And I'm very intuitive. I just get an intuitive nudge. Don't question it, feel it, act upon it, let the universe work it out. And that's how I roll with everything in life. You just get a feeling and you go with it. The universe is connected to everybody, and we are connected to the universe. So everything will arrive and meet in divine timing as it does. And that's all you have to do. Don't think, let feeling and body guide you.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. What are you thinking about lately?
What I've been thinking about lately, honestly, just been thinking about recharging and like just getting in that like alignment of surrendering the day to day and kind of relaxing into it. getting in that certain like position to have more energy at a later point, right? So, I've been in New York for the last 4 weeks, and I just got back to North Carolina. So just like that New York hustle and bustle, just like coming down from that and like recentering my energy and really raising the frequency, right? So, that's like with my app, one thing that, the overarching mission is raising the frequency of the planet. So we announced World Frequency Day. So I've really been thinking about that and how we're going to really have a monumental awakening on that day. We want to reach 1 million people that day to raise their frequency all at once, 1111. So, that's really been on my mind as well. So
See, having big goals like that is incredible, because it means that now you've got a purpose for life. Even if it doesn't end up going down the path that you want it to, you have a purpose trying to reach the end of that path, which may be never ending. And that is what life is. It's creating a purpose for this life. And having something like that, which is so connected to our hearts and other like-minded people, and high vibration, which is always going to make us feel good, is incredible. And that's the same for my purpose. I want to empower people, raise their vibration, heal them, awaken them, make them see what is there that they can't see now, teach them how to find that part of themselves that they are longing for, which I call home or you, and allowing them to see that everything that they need is within them, and seeking outside validation, materialistic items, money isn't going to do anything. And then once they get to that state, they will realize what true freedom is. It's peace within, not needing anybody, anyone, anything, anywhere, just you at all times. And once you get to that state, then you can think, fuck it, I'm going to live the materialistic life now. I'm going to buy stuff. But I know now this time it's not going to fulfill me, but it's still a choice to have a bag, a car, a phone. Whereas before, we'd often chase these materialistic stuff, trying to fill that void. And only then, after we spent so much money and all this crap, will we then realize it was never in the item. It was within us the whole time.
yeah, it's always like start within, your inner world is your outer world.
Do you believe afterlife? Tell me about your thoughts on afterlife.
And afterlife, I mean, I don't think, they say energy can't be created nor destroyed. So I think you just transform into an afterlife or your. So that's my thoughts on it.
And are you conscious when you are in the next life? Is it like us now in this body, but in another life, aware of our past life? Or is it like another universe, such as there's nobody and it's just like awareness of
It depends
presence,
what
but nothing
dial
else?
you are. It's still the same thing about what frequency are you at. Are you going to get sent back to Earth? Are you going to go to another dimension, another realm? Are you going to see what's happening and, neglect or, can't face it? And then you go back. Like it just depends. It's relative, I don't think there's one path. I think of it like this just flashed in my head. Like think of it as like sperm, right? It's like when you're like not all your sperm are gonna create the baby. It may seem like, oh, we're all on the same path. We're all sperm, like we're all like gonna go and like become a baby, right? But at the end of the day, it's like that's not not everybody's journey is gonna be the exact same, you know. So I think it is something along those lines, and I think that's the polarity of it.
You mentioned something very interesting, which I haven't really thought about, crazily. It's when you said depending on the resonance of your body on this earth, will depend whether you come back to earth or you go to another realm. So what I got from that is that imagine the average human being is resonating on the earth at a same frequency. Call it half negative, half positive. They live, but they don't really like their life, and they hate their job, and they hate their partner. They stay at this low resonance where they're just negative, positive all the time, right? If you are awakened and you are evolved and you are enlightened and you do your work and your healing and you get rid of your trauma, etc., and you raise your vibration and you raise your consciousness, would you come back to earth where the resonance is of somebody who is negative and positive, also known as a low vibration? Obviously, when you're born on this earth, you are the same vibration as your parents, which you could say is the average vibration of someone who's negative and positive. But if you break the mold and you raise a vibration where, like on this earth, I don't feel like I get on or truly am the same as anybody because I'm on a very high vibration, I'm very conscious, I don't really fit in with anybody. Does that mean that there's another world, such as human beings or living things on another planet who are on a higher vibration, also known as aliens on another planet, in their body, if they are vibrating on the same vibration of, say, myself or Elon Musk or someone who's a high vibration on this planet, will we go into their bodies because their resonance is of a higher frequency, which was once, say, a human being on this earth who did the same journey of evolving to a higher frequency? So now on that planet, you've got a load of other beings, call them aliens, who are very high frequency conscious beings who could be coming down to earth and manipulating shit, knowing that they're fucking up the earth, for example, and what you're doing is wrong. And then hopefully trying to get people to raise their vibration to then evolve into their bodies on another planet because they're a high frequency.
Yeah. That's how I think consciousness can work. So
yeah, never quite thought about it like that, but there's a group of like enlightened beings on another planet in a body, but it might not have like two eyes and a nose and a mouth. It's just another being, and they all have higher consciousness. They enter that planet with a higher state of consciousness, and then as they have more alien babies, then they create more conscious beings, and then you just keep doing it until you end up on another planet with a high frequency.
Yeah, so we're actually working on just raising the frequency here. So that's a project, that's a possibility, right? It's a matter of time before people are basically blasted with the truth. And what does that mean? Right? That means the truth is going to be so apparent to people that you can't avoid it. And the truth is love. The truth is abundance. So when people are, basically processing in like this energy, their frequencies are automatically going to raise. Right? With AI and these things coming about, that's gonna, and like people have already started using AI to, have these sort of downloads or like, these sort of revelations about conspiracies and other things, because it's literally like an intelligent, all-knowing thing, all-knowing in its database, right? So the truth, you can actually like, it's going to be easier to find the truth instead of going to Google and then you got to go to this article that was written by somebody with a certain bias maybe. But that's one thing that I like about AI. It's like, it's less bias. Like, yeah, it can have some sort of bias depending on how you prompt it, but it's not some person that has their own bias that's writing an article that then I have to read and take their opinion over, right? So like that sort of combination of being able to ask it anything and actually get an answer is something that is going to really open people up to the truth and finding the truth, and not having it so smoke and mirrors, like having to like read through the lines and go through hurdles and paywalls to read the truth. You know?
Yeah, it's magical. It's amazing because for somebody to awaken, like for example, when I was 21, okay, no one around me knew what the shit that I was thinking about was. I got given the book called The Secret, and on YouTube I found other people that were also related to The Secret. That took a long journey, a long way to find that information, and you got to keep hunting for this wisdom. Now, somebody 10 years old can get access to all that information in real time now. So there's no awakening, there's no like seeking answers. It's like they can get access to every single bit of
Yeah, if
information
you were
any
just like to ask
conscious
it, like, what's a
being
Kundalini
has ever come into
awakening?
contact with.
How do I do a Kundalini awakening? It'll literally just like tell you every detail and where to find more information, where to get everything you absolutely need. You know, so it's really a time of acceleration. And yeah, I think that's what all of our, I feel like, job should be, is to, you know, evolving and creating this sort of more harmonious world, right? Like, why follow a false truth? Like, why not just follow the truth? Like, what, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the like goal of following a false narrative of something? Like, what is that achieving? What is that actually creating for the future generation? Future generations, right? Every key thing that's been invented has been from something natural. Like, everything that is on this planet is from something natural, something true, something actually real, right? But a lot of human constructs basically create false truths that people then like to follow and like believe into, right? So I think that is such a huge thing that the last, 300 years has happened. And it's up to us, this generation, because we're at the perfect age to really take use of AI and all these advancements, even Wi-Fi, right? Like, well, people fail to realize how new Wi-Fi is to the masses. Like, it's not a, like this, these things are, we are at these ages at this specific time for a reason. And we need to make sure that things are actually going towards the actual truth, not some like narrative and agenda, right? Like, this needs to be something that is grounded in natural laws and cosmic, information.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Rather than people walking around believing something that's not true, but they don't know how to find the truth, because as you say, they've got to Google it, they've got to go through articles, and some say it's true and some say it isn't. And it's like, well, I don't really know. So living a life of false narrative. Now you go to chat and just be like, hey, my friend told me this. Is it real? No, it's not. Boom. So now I've got the truth. It's like constantly checking in with God, constantly coming back home to yourself, constantly going into a state of, does this feel right for me? Chat, is this right? No, it's not. Boom. Chat, is this right? Yes. Boom. There's no more walking around not knowing information. So all the bullshit out there will become dust. It will just disappear and everyone will be focusing on the truth. And yes, that does mean that everything online, every email, every conversation will be exactly the same because it's ChatGPT that everyone's using. But what that means is that we will all be on the same mindset, same consciousness, hopefully operating in the frequency of love and gratitude. Imagine that all
Yeah.
this AI stuff is just about getting human beings back into alignment, which is back into love, because we get to rely on this AI so much that we will take its word more than our parents. We will believe everything it says. So
Yeah,
if
I've
it
even
says,
talked
chat,
to,
my friend's been horrible to me, shall I forgive them or shall I punch them in the face? And it says forgive them. Imagine every fucker forgave someone that did something horrible to them. Amazing shit will happen. The frequency would raise if people start forgiving. How crazy is that?
yeah, that's exactly, yeah, you put it perfect, and you're right. Like, I talked to a doctor and they're like, people people's family members are using chat trying to battle with the doctor. It's like that's the times we're in, and we're only what 2 years in. Like ChatGPT came
Fucking
out,
hell.
2 or 3 years ago, and like think about that. A 3-year-old, technology is transforming how people are living their lives, and the whole educational system, the medical system, all like it's literally in 3 years doing all that. Imagine 3 years from now, you know, um, what is that going to look like? And people are even going to have it, in their glasses, right? It can literally have a truth detector, like in your glasses in real time. Like, is this the truth? But, the thing with that is who are behind these platforms and what data are they using? And that's one thing that I'm a huge advocate of, because I've been building in AI for the last 4 years. So, working with various AI technologies, creating my own. So there's a whole, like, there's missing pieces within these platforms, especially from indigenous or ancient cultures. Like, whatever ChatGPT is using, it's basically scraping the entire like internet and a bunch of information and data. But what about those people that aren't,
Yeah.
posting, their stuff, and they're not in the algorithm, right? What about that information, right? Is that just now like you can't find that? Like, we need to also incorporate those things and certain fundamental truths, right? So we're at a point where it's like we have the capabilities to, mold that future, but it's up to us and people with a voice to really get those things and implement those things.
Yeah, so like you could say eventually that we'll all be such on a high frequency and know everything. We're using chat so much, so quickly. The more we think, the more we ask it information, the more we store the information, the more questions we have, the more we search. We'll become a thesaurus or a dictionary of everything. We'll know everything, right? We'll know everything. And then as a result of knowing everything, there'll be nothing left for ChatGPT to say because we know it all. So we'll all just stop using it, and we'll all just be like a super human race where we have access to all information at all times. Now, there's people out there that can read books in seconds, and they've read like thousands of books, and they know everything. Like the people you see on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire or The Chase, or all these TV shows where it's all about questions and answers. We're literally going to become that. But how cool would it be if we all started to know everything based on chat, that there was nothing more to know, and we don't use chat? And basically we become an enlightened monk, which is the, as you say, the lost tribes. They have all this information just by sitting with themselves. They are connected to everything. They spend so much
Yeah,
time
yeah,
by themselves.
exactly.
They can access it all now, the same as ChatGPT. So we'll do a full circle and get back to all the information that they already have.
Yeah, yeah, like ChatGPT is just an external manifestation of what we are. It's just us trying to recreate our own minds, right? It's a digital consciousness, if you may. Like, our beings and bodies literally can hold all this information. We just don't use it to that capability. We're
Exactly.
delegating it. We've That's the only way we're even able to create something like this. It came from our mind, right? To create this. So therefore, we had to be able to embody it all to even think of it.
Yeah,
Right?
what's crazy is, our brain only uses 2% of memory.
I think
What is
some people,
ChatGPT? It's
some
an
people,
index of infinite information.
you said what?
Our brain only uses 2% of its memory. So what is chat? It's an infinite 98% or 92% of everything that we don't use. So we have the ability to memorize all this shit.
I don't think I think that's also relative. I think some people use 2%. There's times where you may be using 10 or
Oh
20,
yeah, whatever the number is.
you
Yeah.
know. Um, I don't think chat necessarily is a brain. It's a large language model, which is basically just a bunch of data and strings. So it's just using the computing power, supercomputers, right? But yeah. So like with our app, for instance, we have a couple AI features, like being able to select a sound and frequency based off of your emotional state. So let's say you don't know what frequency you should be tapping into, it'll select one for you. So we're working with AI to empower people, right? Not to necessarily give your power away, but to empower you to take full advantage of who you can possibly be, like the full human experience, right? So using sound and frequency to basically put you in control of your reality, because it starts with how you feel and how you think. So being in control of that, like, oh, I want to be in a focused state. Oh, I want to be in a relaxed state. I want to be in an energized state, a recharged state, my crown chakra, my heart chakra, my root. Like I need to, basically utilizing these certain healing mechanisms like sound and frequency and vibration to get on the frequency you need to be in, and the one that you think will help you thrive in that moment.
If you had one day left to live, what is the one thing that you would share to the rest of the world?
Few things are impossible.
So anything is possible.
Yeah. Many things are possible, and like a few things are impossible, as I would say.
And anything you want to promote or plug before we finish?
Yeah, if you want to tap into the power of frequency, download High Frequency Highway. We've created the best way to listen to binaural beats and instantly shift your brainwave state. So whether you need to focus, relax, meditate, open your third eye, definitely check us out. We are revolutionizing the sound frequency space forever.
Thanks for listening. If you like this episode, please remember to subscribe, turn the bell notifications on, like the episode, and comment below. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's YesKingOliver. Take a look at the other videos to your side. And if you just want to listen to this podcast, you can do so on Apple and Spotify and most other platforms by going to talkwitholiver.com.